by wisdom traditions to seek knowledge and truth. First of all, let us be reminded that both ancient wisdom traditions and contemporary science recognize the deep interconnections of our physical and transphysical reality. In fact, we are all one body, even physically, and we seek a sustainable future, that is, a life sustained in all its interconnected and holistic well-being. The metaphorical expressions we use in our digital culture, such as web and net, virus and link, cell and network ecosystem, they are all borrowed from biological phenomena. These metaphors and analogies are not just figures of speech, but are visceral, emerging from the deeply hidden sources of the mystery of life. The insight of the wisdom traditions is illustrated in the digital culture today. We know that a defining feature of the digital culture is the complex web of layered interconnections that constantly interact. The mobile phone in your hand or pocket records and transmits to the global network not only your words and images, but your very breath and your very heartbeat. There is no privacy, there is no private individual anymore. A very new theory called quantum memory matrix, QMM, postulates that the universe remembers everything. No information whatever is lost. Secondly, in cosmology and astrophysics, a major question today is, what is it that holds together our ever-expanding inflationary universe as one coherent whole? It seems that the four fundamental forces, gravity, electromagnetism, and the weak and strong nuclear forces, they are not adequate enough to explain the universe that expands with ever-accelerating speed. We may raise the same question in our social, philosophical, ethical, and spiritual domains. What is it that holds humanity as one body, in spite of the innumerable inner conflicts in the name of race, religion, territory, language, and culture? We may have many answers. One ancient spiritual wisdom tradition I'm familiar with says that it is love of the Creator, that unfolds the universe in all directions and holds it together as one body. Now, thirdly, it is obvious that all human creative activities, from art to technologies to all disciplines of knowledge, are by and for the human actor. The new emphasis on interdisciplinarity in the academia and the interfaith perspective in religious discourse is derived from this reality of the human subject as the sole actor, creator, and designer. However, this unique human subjectivity is now being shared by artificial intelligence, and it might soon be totally assumed by AI. The consequences will be alarming, as several historians point out. So the question for conference is, can the human subject, the human actor, still control and guide the radically shifting scenario with the AI? A fourth point is that poet Rabindranath Tagore adopted the ancient Indian Vedic insight, Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Ega Needam. The whole world becomes one nest, bird nest. We know that the birds build nests only to lay eggs and to nurture their young ones, to bring up a new life, not to settle down comfortably like we human beings. If the universe becomes one nest, it is to protect life, to nurture it, and thus to ensure a future for all creatures. Now, let me briefly mention a few paradoxes which we need to take up in our deliberations in the conference. The first one is trust versus zero trust. Mutual trust is a true matrix of a just and peaceful social order that we know. In traditional diplomatic language, trust building is a first step towards the resolution of conflicts between nations. However, in our times, powers obsessed with security, especially cyber security, actually promote what is called zero trust. Everything and everybody is kept under suspicion. And the threat of the imagined enemy leads to increasing weaponization and staggering spending on tightening security more and more. Conflicts are deliberately precipitated to the profit of arms dealers and warmongers at the expense of even the primary needs of the ordinary common people. A similar paradox is rampant in all our economic systems. While the government agencies urge for higher and higher consumption and protection, leading to higher emissions of greenhouse gases, the same heads of government meet every year in climate summits and ritually pledge a net zero carbon emission. Another paradox is presented by the major religions of the world. While all religions proclaim and promise the inclusion of all humanity under the umbrella of care and munificence, they increasingly reduce their domain of interest to racial, communal, and territorial limits. This leads to the tightening of the language of we and they, even we versus they, leading to mutual suspicion, hostility, and terrible violence that we now witness in our world. There are many such paradoxes that stare at our idea of sustainable future, but I am not going to those things at the moment. So what do we do? That's the question. As one of the organizers of this conference, may I suggest a few points for our consideration in view of a sustainable future. First, we need to move from hostility to hospitality at all levels, at personal levels and also to international levels and interactions. All ancient cultures take hospitality as a prime virtue because it is the only antidote to hostility, exclusion, conflict, violence, and finally death. But both the host and the guest, whether it is an international relations or domestic situation, both guest and host have to respect each other's dignity without ulterior motives of exploitation or instrumentalization of the other. Again, we have so many examples in our contemporary world. And secondly, we need to interpret anew the political concept of sovereignty in terms of hospitality, sharing, and caring, rather than claims of uniqueness, power, and dominance based on the possession of wealth and weapons. As we are surrounded by the demonic darkness of ongoing wars, genocide, and terrible violence against children and pregnant women, the budding life, the world looks on in passive silence. What then is our future? Let us wish and pray and act on the wise insight, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. All earth is one family. Thirdly, we need to reinstate the authentically several symbols of all religions, which are now being politically manipulated as symbols of exclusion, hatred, and violence, instead of illuminating human minds and hearts. To many, these religious symbols seem to spread darkness rather than the light of life. Therefore, let us wish, act and pray, Asado Masadgamaya. Lead me from untruth to truth. Fourthly, we need to rediscover the genuine elements that constitute the evolved human nature, particularly in face of the threat of computer malware, deep fake, and the underworld of the dark web, all creations of human intelligence. Therefore, we need to wish, pray, and act. Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya. Finally, we have new enhancement technologies in synthetic biology. Synthetic biology's aim at redesigning all human genetic structures, increasing the span of life, and invigorating all human faculties to superhuman levels. It ignores the mystery and the beauty of death, but still it deeply yearning for some sort of immortality. Therefore, let us wish, pray, and act. Mrityorma Amardam Gamaya. Lead me from death to immortality. And now, dear friends, having shared some of these little thoughts for the conference, let me welcome the distinguished guests and speakers present here. May I welcome our distinguished speaker and even patron of the whole conference, Professor Dr. C.T. Aravinda Kumar, the Vice Chancellor of the University. He has been warmly supporting the proposal for the conference from the very beginning. A senior professor and former director of the School of Environmental Sciences and director of the International Center for Polar Studies, and in many other scientific capacities, his advice and contributions to this conference are invaluable. Sir, we welcome you most heartily. I recognize the inspiring presence of Dr. Satish Kumar in our midst. He is the very symbol of a sage, a contemporary sage, the legendary Gandhian and visionary mentor of the conference, founder of the reputed Schumacher College in UK, and a world pilgrim for peace, non-violence, ecological and spiritual wisdom. We deeply appreciate his presence in our midst. His plenary address will be in the next session, and he will be introduced in detail by Dr. Cherian Epen, the president of Roy International Children's Foundation. Dr. Epen, a great philanthropist and visionary himself, roams the world to sow the seeds of social justice, environmental harmony, spiritual concord, and commitment to great ideas and great minds. In fact, this event owes a lot to the foresight and support of Dr. Cherian. Dr. Cherian, welcome. Professor Dr. Bismi Gopalakrishnan, formerly professor and head of the School of Indian Legal Thought, is now our registrar, the first woman registrar of Mahatma Gandhi University. She has a brilliant academic track record. Madam, we appreciate your presence and we welcome you cordially. We have the convener of the whole conference, Dr. Naushad Pipi, our colleague and close friend now, director of the School of Gandhian Thought and Development Studies. And his dynamic leadership and organizational ability have been our strength during this conference. Dr. Naushad, most hearty welcome. And we have Advocate Reggie Sakaraya. He is a member of the syndicate of the university, a respected public figure with well-recognized social and political involvement in the life of the people. We have always valued his timely advice. Advocate Reggie Sakaraya, we extend a very warm welcome to you. We have Dr. Mahesh Mohan, again, another organizer of the conference. He is the director of the School of Environmental Sciences, is also the Honorary Director of the University Center of Organic Farming and Sustainable Agriculture. His gentle style of leadership has been very, very encouraging for the organizing committee. Sir, we gladly welcome you. Now, dear sisters and brothers, students, scholars, professors, and the public, you're all most cordially welcomed to this conference. Let us join together and move forward in a true spirit of justice and hope and sustainable future. Thank you very much.